A team doctor treated America's most decorated gymnasts for nearly 2 decades. More than 150 of those athletes would one day stand in a single courtroom and call him their abuser. Here's the part that should keep you up at night. The federation that employed him, the university that housed him, and the FBI itself had all been warned, and each one looked away. This isn't the story of one predator. If you believe the people who run women's sports should answer for what they bury, subscribe, because this is the story of the institutions that made him possible. And this channel exists to expose exactly that kind of failure. His name is Larry Nassar. From 1996 to 2015, through 4 Olympic Games, he was the national team physician for USA Gymnastics and a sports doctor at Michigan State University. To the outside world, he was the trusted expert who kept Olympic champions healthy. Much of that world ran through a remote training site in the Texas woods called the Caroli Ranch. Young gymnasts trained there in isolation, often with no parents allowed. According to survivors, it was a place where speaking up wasn't an option, and Nassar was the doctor girls were sent to alone. Prosecutors and survivors later described a consistent method. Nassar framed sexual abuse as a legitimate medical procedure, sometimes with a parent in the room. Because he was the doctor to Olympic champions, his word carried more weight than a teenager's discomfort. That authority was the disguise, and it held because, over and over, the adults with power chose the institution. The warnings started earlier than most people realize. In 2014, a woman named Amanda Tomashow filed a formal Title IX complaint about Nassar with Michigan State University. The school investigated and cleared him, ruling his methods were medically appropriate. But according to CNN, Michigan State produced 2 versions of that report. The one handed to Tomashow left out a Title IX official's warning that Nassar's technique exposed patients to unnecessary trauma. He kept practicing. More than a dozen women say he assaulted them after that investigation was closed. Then came the report that should have ended it. On June 17, 2015, a coach named Sarah Jauncey overheard 2 of her gymnasts talking about Nassar's treatments. One of them was Maggie Nichols, an elite competitor later known publicly as Athlete A. Her coach reported it straight to USA Gymnastics. And according to court filings and reporting by ESPN, the federation waited roughly 5 weeks before contacting the FBI. 5 weeks, while the doctor kept working. But the system had one more chance to stop him. It didn't take it. USA Gymnastics reported the allegations to the FBI's Indianapolis field office in the summer of 2015. Then, according to a 2021 report by the Justice Department's own Inspector General, almost nothing happened. The Inspector General found the FBI failed to treat the allegations with, in its words, the utmost seriousness and urgency they required. Agents didn't open a case in Michigan, where Nassar still practiced, until more than a year later. In that gap, the report concluded, Nassar abused at least 70 more girls and young women. The same watchdog report found something else. USA Gymnastics had handed the FBI a thumb drive with videos of Nassar's so-called technique, and the Indianapolis office failed to properly document even receiving it. The report also found that the agent who ran that office later made false statements to investigators about how the case was handled. While the FBI sat on it, 3 journalists picked up the thread. In August 2016, the Indianapolis Star published an investigation into how USA Gymnastics handled sexual abuse complaints against its coaches. It didn't name Nassar, but a former gymnast named Rachael Denhollander read it and emailed the reporters. She told them she'd been abused by the team doctor at 15 under the guise of medical treatment. She went on the record with her name and her face. A prosecutor later said that without that first story and without Denhollander coming forward, Nassar would still be practicing. Within weeks, dozens of women contacted investigators. Within months, it was hundreds. Once one woman spoke, the silence broke everywhere. By January 2018, this was no longer a whisper. In a Michigan courtroom, Judge Rosemary Aquilina did something almost unheard of. She let every survivor who wanted to speak take the stand. More than 150 of them did. One after another, champions the whole country had cheered took the microphone. Simone Biles, Aly Raisman, McKayla Maroney, Maggie Nichols, describing what had been done to them. For 7 days, the hearing became a national reckoning. Aquilina sentenced Nassar to 40 to 175 years, on top of a 60-year federal sentence for child pornography he'd already received. The last woman to speak was Rachael Denhollander, the first who ever had. Her question to the court became the question of the entire scandal. How much is a little girl worth? The courtroom answered. The institutions still had to. The bill came due in stages. In 2018, Michigan State University agreed to pay $500 million to more than 300 survivors. In 2021, USA Gymnastics and the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee agreed to a $380 million settlement covering more than 500 survivors. Together, those settlements topped $800 million, what survivors' attorneys called the largest sexual abuse case ever tied to a single person. Steve Penny, the USA Gymnastics president through those years, had resigned in 2017. He was later arrested and charged with tampering with evidence, accused of ordering records removed from the Aly Ranch. He has denied wrongdoing. And in September 2021, 4 of the sport's biggest names sat before the United States Senate. McKayla Maroney told the committee the FBI had allowed a child molester to go free for more than a year, and that its inaction directly allowed his abuse to continue. Simone Biles, still competing for the United States, told the senators it felt like the FBI turned a blind eye. Enough is enough, she said. In 2024, the Justice Department agreed to pay survivors nearly $139 million over how the FBI handled the case. It would be easy to call this the story of a monster. It isn't. Larry Nassar didn't need help to commit the abuse. He needed help to keep getting away with it. He got it from a system that treated each report as a threat to its brand instead of a crime against a child. A university cleared him, a federation waited, and a federal agency let a year pass. The cover-up wasn't one decision by one villain. It was 100 small choices to protect the institution first. Each choice, on its own, looked like caution. Together, they looked like the things survivors had been screaming about for years. That system didn't reform because it wanted to. It changed because the women it failed refused to stay quiet until the silence became impossible to defend. If you want the stories the sports headlines flatten into a single day of coverage, subscribe and tap the video on your screen right now. There's another one waiting for you.